stabbed me, he had my son. I have to stay alive for him. I'm all he has. I have to stay alive for him. I was just sitting there and I was reading the Bible, and I just looked up and I saw him coming out of the shadows, and I was like, "What are you do? What are you doing here?" And he had his hands behind his back, and my son at the time, he was, just learning how to talk. He was able to talk, but his words would come out funny. And he was like, "Life," and I knew what life meant. I knew life meant knife. I grew up in DeSoto, Texas. It's a little ways out of Dallas, and I remember just moving there from the city that we were in before, and I was like, life is different. um, and I was really, I guess, a soft-spoken, shy little girl. One day, when I moved from one school to the next school, I, I guess I started to develop an imaginary friend, or my consciousness started talking really loud to me. And the conversations I would have, I would write those down. And I kept those to myself. So throughout the years, I would do this, and it would wake me up at night. It would get to the point where I'm like in the middle of a sentence, and I'm like, "Oh, I need to write something down. Hold on, let me write it down." And instead of interacting with people or talking to people, my way of calming my anxiety, or the energy I felt whenever that voice would come, is writing it down. That was definitely my foundation. Very strong push and motivation to come out of my shell, and start becoming more of what I was becoming. Yeah, that led me into wanting to go to the military, to do something different, shift, like as far away from the city as possible, just flap my wings and find myself. Ended up finishing high school and going straight into the military. I had already been in JROTC, and I liked, the militant side of me. I really liked that discipline and being able to just have order in the chaos, And I found myself in the Air Force. So when I got in the Air Force, I was very young, and discovered that, hey, this is a little bit harder than I expected. But I got through it though. I got injured in boot camp, but I pressed forward with that and then made it through. And at this time, the Iraqi war was just popping off. So I ended up getting deployed right away. I was 18, turned 19 in the desert, and I was like really scared. Um, I thought I was gonna die out there, and I hadn't talked to my mother since I left home. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to make her proud, and that's what I was doing. Kind of living for her, approval. But yeah, shortly after that, got out of the desert, got back to my station, and got back to the real world, and tried to discover who I was. Still trying to find my identity. and just going back and forth of trying to be a straight woman in the military and not letting people know that secretly I'm attracted to women. So ended up having my first child and getting married. Still a teenager, like have no idea how to do any of these things. um, and yeah, that marriage didn't last very long. We both were very young, and yeah, he was cheating on me, the typical thing. But it wasn't just that; it was just trying to figure out how to take care of a baby, and both of us were not ready for that. Ended up getting stationed in North Dakota, and shortly after I got there, I was sexually assaulted, and yeah, harassed and followed and stalked, and um, that led me into a deep depression. I didn't have, a support system anymore, and I felt this hatred on me from my supervisor at the time who assaulted me, and it was like I was never going to be able to prove what happened. So I ended up going to mental health and getting on antidepressants, and I just remember saying that I just wanted to kill myself, and I was just so depressed. So ended up going to mental health, and I never forget Dr. Goldbreath. I love you so much. If you ever see this, thank you so much for just listening to me. He he listened to me, and he was like, "Look, I'm gonna help you." And he's like, "I'm so tired of having to sit with women who are dealing with this, and there's no way for them to get justice." So they gave me the motivation, and talking to mental health and everything helped me, and I was able to get the case going. I was able to speak up and tell my story, and I was able to be released from the military, honorable discharge, and be compensated for everything that happened to me. Oh, this tree. It knows when I'm present. Definitely. I come here and I pray and I give all of my worries away. Right here, I just find myself grounding a lot with this tree. And I talk to my ancestors. I speak with spirit, and I just wait. I wait for a response, and there's always a response. Everything is gonna be okay. Yeah. I sit with this tree and I tell my secrets. I tell about my worries and stress. I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful. Uh, some friends of mine from the military took me in, and I went down to New Mexico and slept on their couch for a while, and moved in with a girlfriend, and my son's father ended up coming over from overseas, and he tried to do the father partner thing. He tried it, but yeah, it just was kind of hard for him to maintain. So we just got in trouble with him wanting to sell drugs to supplement, and me getting into that space of like finding ulterior ways of making money, and also dealing with the depression that I still had, and taking the antidepressants. And at this point, I developed a dependency on substance, um, and it just got intense, more and more, harder drugs, and those suicidal thoughts, the depression thoughts, they crept up on me. I just remember like one day I was like, this is too heavy. Like, this is so heavy. And I was taking a bath, and I was like under the influence of alcohol and painkillers, and um, just so much was in my system. And I was just like asking God, I was like, why? Why do you talk to me so much? Why do you talk to me so much? And when I ask you for help, like, you don't bring any help. Like, you took all of my help, all of my support. Like, I'm just here. And I ended up passing out in that bathtub, and what saved me was a welfare check from the police. Came and they broke down the door, and took me out of the bathtub to the hospital. And I feel like that was the beginning of the turning point. It's just like me waking up in a hospital bed with handcuffs on my hand. Like, what's happening? And I was just like, where's my son? Like, what are y'all, huge hangover, discombobulated, like, what's happening? And I just remember, like, I have a son, like, I gotta get out of here. I don't know why I'm here. Where are my clothes? I need to get to him ASAP. I couldn't believe the fact that I was going to jail. I was like, what is happening? And just remember sitting there in the cell, and I was like, okay, get yourself together, and quickly. Like, you have to figure this out. And so, yeah, I ended up getting out of there. They did transport me to go, do a psych eval and all those other things. And this was on this path, this long 9 month to a year path of just getting myself clean and on track. And in the mix of that, I got mixed up in the wrong crowd. Just trying to figure out ways to pay my rent and get my son out of, you know, protective custody, not protective custody, foster care. And I ended up getting pregnant on a by someone that I barely even knew. And yeah, he ended up being very abusive and controlling, and didn't know who I just got involved with. My then son's father was like, you're not gonna abort this baby. You're gonna have this baby. So he basically kidnapped me and made me stay with him. And yeah, as a way to scare me, he killed my dog. And like it made me very like scared, afraid of him, and didn't want to do something that was gonna cause me to, get beat up or lose my life. And got myself together, good enough to get my son. And so it took me and my son and the son in my belly and drove back home. And yeah, I just did my best to take care of us. And ended up, having some complications with the pregnancy. So I had to give the news that my child did not make it, and that he died shortly after, in April actually, so around this time. And he he was born, but then he didn't make it because from being beat, he was also wounded in the womb, and so he was not able to make it outside of the moon. Ended up having a funeral for him, and shortly after that, the family blamed me for that, and child's father came, broke into my home then, and came after me and my oldest son. Said it was our fault, and that we were all going to die that day. And I was like, wanted him to leave the room, but he saw the fear in my face. Oh, he wanted to be my superhero, you know. Um, so he was trying to save me from him. So he tried to stop him from hurting me. And remember, um, he said, "Who do you want to go first, you or him?" And either one. So I had to fight, literally fight for my life that day. And I just remember looking over and seeing blood on the Bible, and every strike from the knife. I just try to keep my life, keep my eyes open, keep my eyes on my son, and figure out how to get him out of the house, even though I was slowly going down, and I was just standing up for myself and saying that I'm not. I just remember hearing him say, you're the reason why this happened. You're the reason why. You're the devil. You're the devil. I know you are." And I just, at that moment, hearing those words, I started to see these like angelic beings. I see spirits in the room that were helping me stand up every time I would get hit. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm a good person. I didn't do that. It's not my fault. And I just remember running towards my son to protect my son, and I pushed my son out of the way. And then I got cornered, and I saw these two angels come out of nowhere. And at this point, my throat was cut. There was blood everywhere, and I couldn't talk anymore. But I just know that I was trying to get out. You know, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I said these things, and those beings got more and more vivid in the room. The room just filled up with light. And somebody told me to go out the window. Just break the window. Just go out the window. All I remember is looking over and seeing my son in the doorway of that home at the time, and it just got really dark, and I just gave in. But I saw the energy from the room cover that whole house, and I really truly feel like I had died in that street that day. And next thing I know is that I was hearing loud sirens and people, lights, and everything everywhere, and I was just trying to just hold on. I was just trying to just fighting for my life. So I started turning that wheel even harder, and I didn't know if he made it or not. So I just felt like if he's gone, I'm gonna go too, 'cause everything is gone now. Like my journey back to myself, going through rehab, and getting my my voice back and healing my throat and the scars on my body. And I was stabbed over 20 times, and the major parts of my body, my heart, my lungs, my stomach, my back, my legs, and my throat, my face. Every last one of those places, I still feel that to this day. Like, I can't not feel the scar tissue in my chest and my heart. So that's the driving force. And every time I feel those wounds, if you will, or my battle scars, I remember the moment that I met my creator. My lawyer at the time, she was like, I want you to meet someone. And she had me meet two of the one of the two women who survived what had happened to them. What had happened to me had happened to them. So now it wasn't just about an attempted murder on me. It was about stopping a serial killer. Someone who had already murdered another woman and her child, and then tried to do it to this woman who was standing in front of me, who was scarred. So yeah, my now masculine partner, I grew up with, he came back into my life, and he was a good support system. Didn't know right away what I had been going through. We ended up going to the courtroom like after I had trial, and that's when I was like, hey, how do you know this space? So I opened up and told my story. I opened up and told my story that, hey, I just got done with trial in this space. I wasn't going to do it at first, but my testimony was able to put him away and bring justice to the other women and the woman and her child who are no longer here. That could have been me and my child. So, yeah, I was very proud of myself. So that day that we walked past that courtroom, I was like, why are we here? And he was like, yeah, my father was murdered and they found the man who did it. My childhood friend, who is now, my lover, my partner, had gone through the same thing and did not know that what was bringing us back together. He was like, yeah, I had to, I had to go to court. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I feel safe enough to live life with you. And I just recall, like, the majority of my life I've been trying to suppress myself or hide myself and be this, I guess, what I thought was a woman. But with him, he accepted me, flaws and all, silliness, my androgynous being, my tomboy ways, I guess you could say. He accepted my quirkiness, everything. I just was like, I think, I think I love you. I think I'm in love with you. I think that I want to do this. And so we started turning that wheel. You know, he got justice. I got justice. We ended up getting pregnant with our first daughter, and um, life started lightening up. Like I started to find my purpose, and we decided to start a nonprofit. Nonprofit called Free the Streets. We just wanted everyone to experience what we would call freedom. And given both of our background, the streets were both the place that we went to, that we ran to, when we didn't know where to go, when we felt detached, when we felt abandoned.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Key,
This is Joe.
and we're here volunteering doing concession stand work.
Yeah, we're getting this work out here. So basically, they donate a portion back to our nonprofit for the initiatives that we do in the streets.
So come on, get what we got going on.
Come get this work.
Both of us are artists. I'm a spoken word artist, and I can say that now. Before, I just wrote my poetry, um, didn't know how to speak my truth. But once I got my voice back, literally received my voice back, I was like, I'm going to talk. It took me some time though, but I did eventually talk. And speaking, and doing our ministry through the nonprofit helped me. Um, and I just remember one day, um, my son that had transitioned started talking, and I was just like, what? I was like, I was in the middle of sleeping, and I was dreaming that I was talking to my son, and he was talking back. And I opened my eyes, and it was still dark in the room. The only light was the moonlight, and I just started writing down everything that was coming. It just kept coming, coming. And I went back to bed, and I got up the next day, and I read it, and I was like, I need to finish this. So I finished it. And that's my piece called Love. It's my love poem. It's a love letter to my son. But it's also a love letter to everyone, who reads that. Just to remember to love yourself. Love is going to be always the key to everything. No matter how hard it gets, how cold it gets, love is going to see you through. And my son gave me that message. And I make sure that I recite that piece every time I perform. Every stage I hit, I always ended or started with love. And that's how I started to get to be Key Divine. I just, I sat down, I was like, what am I going to call myself? Like, they're going out here, like, they're going to call me by my name, or a lot of people can't say my full name correctly. So I was like, okay, it was the divine that saved me. It was definitely divine. How my life just transitioned and transformed. Like, I'm here, and I'm still here, and I'm thriving. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of this and a little bit of that, so we can put it together because I'm always with the divine. Key is always with the divine. Every place I go, I walk, I talk, I breathe with the divine. So yeah, I'm Key Divine. And I'm a spoken word artist. And you know, I'm a mother. I'm a lover. Um, I'm a partner. I'm a sister. I'm an advocate for women, you know, who've ever felt lost, silenced. Uh, yeah, that's how I, you know, tether back to my sisters, the other women in the world. Is, hey, we're not our pain. We're not our struggles at all. We can still smile even after, you know, the pain. We can laugh again. You know, we can find joy and bliss in life, and use our struggles, our challenges, our shortcomings, our past, you know, to form our future, and actually, like, you know, have a good story to tell, leave a legacy. And yeah, that's how I tether it to my fellow women and sisters in the world. Is, you're not alone. Every day I rise, I open my eyes, I say gratitude. Like, I'm very grateful. Like, every day I say I'm grateful because I can open my eyes and I can see. I can see what's before me. I can see my future. I can see. I'm very grateful. Like, you know, even after things got better, you know, I got diagnosed with Graves' disease, and you know, I was like, it's cool. We're just gonna rock and roll with that. You know, I was able to have another daughter. You know, but there's, no matter what comes my way, it's no, you know, even when it gets hard, or what is perceived as hard, I think it's hard is what I've been through. You know, I do Divine Soul. My platform is where I bring together other creatives, and I give them a safe space to express themselves. You know, we're not just going to trauma bond on the microphone. We're going to come here and we're going to express ourselves and leave feeling heard and loved and supported. And, you know, I serve this drink called cacao, which helped me, you know, deal with the pain of my heart, like the physical pain, and also give me upliftment. And I just share this with my community, and I know that the intense amount of love and euphoria, it's not just because of the cacao, it's because that's what's inside. And so yeah, that's what I feel. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for my story and everything I've gone through to get me to here, to talk to you all, to let you know that, yeah, you have purpose, and you matter, and you are loved. Divine. This is what self-love looks like. 4 a.m., mirror gazing, looking at my reflection, asking me, are you alright? Did you get enough sleep? Late night, like you don't look like what you've been through in them dreams last night. I love you. I love you. I want you. I want you. I need you to. I need you to. I need you to. Wake up.
Hi, Mama. Um, I'm Euphoria. My mom knows me as Z-Man, Z, her son, Sunny. I understand this is an episode about her and only her. I want to say that my mom's probably the coolest person to ever exist, yeah. Um, she had me at like 20, and she had me in England. She had me literally on base. Also, she's a military vet, which is pretty cool. It's not pretty cool, but she's tough. My mom's always been cool, always been how do I say this? She's always just not like other mothers. Very, very different. Anytime I was picked on or I was looked at differently, she turned into mama bear and just like crash on anyone and everyone. I appreciate that very much. They're embarrassing sometimes, but at the same time, it's kind of taught me how to stand up for myself. And yeah, that's all I'd say about my mom. I love her to death. And yeah.